Okay, cool. All right, glad everybody back. Missed you guys last week on the opportunity week. I feel like it's been forever since we played a home game. So our kids are really excited and thrilled to get back to the Sun Bowl and play a home game in the best venue in college football. And we've really this past week, opportunity week. We don't call it a bye. We call it opportunity week. It's opportunity to grow, opportunity to get better. And I've been super impressed. With the guys. I told the guys, and I mean it with all sincerity, like it's probably the best opportunity week I've had as a head coach, seeing a team respond. I think that if you attended our practices on that opportunity week, you would think you're looking at a team that's 4-0. That's how hard these guys practice. So I commend our team. I love the way that they came out and prepared. We certainly, addressed, issues that we've been having on the field in terms of the run game, third downs, red zone. Those were big emphases for us throughout the opportunity week. We did team run period every single day, and I thought those were some of the most physical team periods that we've had, even besides camp. A couple of those were live, our defense and offense handled that great and played extremely physical. Was really, really proud of the way the coaches and the way that the players especially came out and attacked the opportunity week. Usually the way I work on that is Fridays on, we're going to practice Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, then Friday's on them. It's dealer's choice, meaning if we've had a good week of practice, then, those guys we're going to come in and meet and lift. If it's been a practice has been below our standard, then we'll come in and practice on Friday. And those guys earn the right to not practice on Friday. We brought them in early. We got a jump start on Sam Houston, did a bunch of film, we fence, position meetings, and getting a jump start on Sam Houston. Then we lifted really heavy and worked on our physical strength. And, I was really, really proud of the way they handled the opportunity week. And, now we're getting these midweek games, and we got to transition in how we handle that. And our guys have done great so far. So we're really excited to be back home and open up conference play here at the Sun Bowl. So with that, I'll open up questions.
What do you think about Thursday football, and is it really just as easy as moving everything 2 days forward, or how does it kind of handle
Yeah, well, I'll tell you better after the season, because this is my first time doing it, to be honest with you. So it's going to be a good trial run. First off, number one, I love it because it gets our program and our brand on a national scale, Brett, and that's what I love the most, is the fact that hey, we get to be on national television when normally we might be on ESPN Plus or something if we're dealing with a bunch of Saturday games, right? So it gives our kids, it gives our program, it gives recruits, it gives the Texas high school football coaches a chance to get a glimpse of what we're building as we build a championship culture here at UTEP, and they get a chance to see that on national television, and what a great opportunity, and I think Conference USA has done a great job with that because that sets us apart, and allows us to get all of our teams on a national scale. So I really like it. Now, in terms of the preparation for it, you've got to adapt, at least from what I can see so far. I'll tell you better when we have that Tuesday game. That's going to be a little different for me right there. That's going to be a little different. I played one Thursday game in my career, and now getting to go back to back and to do a Wednesday, Tuesday will be interesting. But it's just like anything. You've got to modify and you got to adapt. I think it gets harder when you go from the Thursday to the Wednesday, because you lose a day of preparation. Then you go Wednesday to Tuesday, you lose a day of preparation, so you have to adapt your schedule. But again, our kids have handled the change really well so far.
As you made the quarterback change, Coach, what have you noticed as far as the response from it? What have you noticed from the change of preparation, or has not really much changed for that?
In terms of the preparation for Cade and Skylar, I got done actually talking with both of those guys today about how proud I am of, it doesn't feel like a change was made in the regard of the way they've responded. Like, it'd be very easy for, you're dealing with two very mentally tough human beings. Skylar Locklear has, every chance to come out to practice, kind of go through the motions. He's had maybe his best week of practice. It's funny how that works. He comes out and he's slinging it around. He's very intentional. He understands what he has to get better at and where he has to grow. And I think that just goes down to, I'm very blessed, he and I's relationship, to be able to have open and real conversations. And like I've said before, I've praised Cade, when he was not the starter, of how he has prepped, when he was the backup. He never wavered in his preparation. He would even talk to the team. He would always be himself. And I thought it was a great example, because I've talked to a few leaders on our team about production does not define leadership. Okay, it helps it. Let's be real. Like, when you're winning, when you're producing, the message, some guys are, hey, I'm listening to this guy because he's successful. But it's about your demeanor and about your character every day that really earns the respect of your teammates. And that's something McConnell never let his production determine his leadership stance. That's something I'm very, very proud of, and that's a winning habit, and that's something that's been glorified and exemplified. I think the team has done a great job responding and understanding, and both those guys have come out and competed and had a really good opportunity week and had a really good week of prep so far.
I know you've been repping both guys with the ones and twos, Cade especially. I assume Cade's getting more reps with the ones this last week. I guess how beneficial is that for him heading into his first start on Thursday?
Yeah, so we were, when we were having the quarterback battle, those guys were flipping. Right now, Cade has got all of the one reps. So we're not, just like with Skyler, when he was a starter, he had all the one reps. We're not going back and forth with that right now. But those guys are both taking. Obviously, I'm repping 2 quarterbacks right now, and those are the guys that are repping. But Skyler with the 2s, Cade with the 1s right now. But yeah, it is beneficial. But like I've told you before, the way we run our shop, like Cade has had reps with those 1 receivers many times before. Not only in team settings, but routes on air and all through the spring. So he has chemistry, with those guys. It's not like, oh God, like I'm going out there for the first time and Trey Goodman's out there, Cam's out there. Let me see how to navigate this. So I don't see that there hasn't been a lack of chemistry or a drop off in that.
Just looking at Sam Houston, I think one of the highest scoring offenses in Conference USA so far. What is it about their offense, considering you're an offensive mind as well, that makes them have success? And what can you do on the defensive side of the ball to kind of limit their success come Thursday?
Well, they're definitely number one. They're extremely well coached. I mean, Casey Keeler has been a great coach in that program for a long time. Has led them from FCS to FBS, and they're the number one thing that stands out to me is they're extremely well coached, extremely disciplined, and they play extremely hard. The thing that makes you honest on the defensive side is they run their quarterback a lot, and he's about 6'3", 210 pounds, and they'll just get traditional and just go. Quarterback power at you, they don't care, and they'll do it over. Like you look at the Texas State game, I think that was a phenomenal example of guys trusting, their process over there. They were down big, and they didn't freak out and, start doing things that they don't normally do. They just trusted, and they kept. I think they ran the ball like 50 some odd times, and ended up rushing for dang near 300 yards and getting back in that game, and that showed me a lot about how much they believe in what they're doing and the trust that they have to stay the course and weather the storm. But they make you play honest because of this too. They've got speed at receiver. There's a young man, Ife Adeyi, that I recruited at Southern Miss when he was coming out of Mansfield Legacy High School, number 2. I mean, he's a 10-4, 10-500 meter all day. So you got to deal with this run game that makes you have, essentially almost 11-man run fits because you got to account for that extra hat. But then also they can isolate you and throw it deep, and they do a really good job of keeping you off balance with that. And then they're not necessarily tempo all the time, but they'll catch you after a first down and they'll go fast, and so they got playmakers all over the field. Their offensive line is really, to me, the secret sauce. Those guys all average over 300 pounds, and they're big and physical up front, and they're extremely well coached.
You guys have scored 24 points once. That's the highest so far this season. Has there been discussions about what you guys need to do in the red zone to figure out a way to get the ball in as well?
Yeah, I think it expands. I mean, definitely had red zone woes against Liberty was big, and I like the fact situational football going third downs against Liberty, like we're 18% or something like that. We jumped up to 41% or something like that against Colorado State. I saw growth in that. I would say this, I think our problems stem further than red zone execution. We got to get down there more. We're not in there enough. And so when you have limited opportunities down there, now you got to capitalize on them. But we need to be more consistent, moving the ball. I didn't think in the Colorado State game we really woke up until the third quarter, right? And again, it goes back. We got to coach better. We got to coach details better. We are transitioning to a system that is, vastly different in methodology, vastly different from, what guys have done, right? And that takes time. That takes time. And we've got to all be on the same page. We're snapping the ball, as fast as we can, going lightning quick, and we got to be on the same page, and be able to execute that. And so we, as coaches, we got to look at that and assess. Okay, where can we pull back? Where can we, I told the guys, you're going into conference play. Like if you line up in the same formation and do the same thing, they're going to know what's happening. You got to find some advantages, right? And so we have to be able to handle some install, and our guys have done a really nice job with that. But again, we're not going to get outside of what we do. But I think it's all about repetition and getting comfortable in the system, and that's going to continue to take time with the reps that we have.
Would you say the problem is maybe the offensive line, and how do they get better?
No, I don't. I think, after going back, me, Coach Stanchek, and I sat down and watched every single run cut up that we have this season. And there are times, literally, and it's one thing I get on the outside looking in. We always want to try to pinpoint one position or one person or one whatever. And the reality is, 99% of the time, it's a multitude of sins, right? I told the offense the other day after the game. There's blood on everybody's hands, so to speak. It's the quarterback made wrong reads at times. The tight ends didn't block well at times. We got a zone play early in the game and we totally miss a kick out block by a tight end. That's not just the offensive line. And I told the team that you can see there's times where we're coming off against Colorado State. We got 2 vertical double teams, and it looks really, really good. And our back misses a cut, or our quarterback makes a wrong read, or a lot of times people want to pinpoint. Not that I think we've protected overall, well this year. We're protection-wise isn't a concern for me. But when sacks are given up, a lot of people want to point directly to the O-line. Well, sometimes the quarterback, hangs onto the ball too long and missed his read, and sometimes receivers, they play a role in pass protection with great route urgency, right? So I do not see there's one group at all that is, leading to us not being able to run the ball. You could literally go through that cut up and see a multitude of things where we've all got to work synonymously. We got to be on the same page. Quarterback making the right read, the running back identifying 3 down, 4 down front, the tight end targeted the right way with the O-line, and working in unison. And the deal is, Brett, like we're asking them to do that really fast. If how fast we play, and that takes time to get on the same page. But definitely not on the O-line. I am proud of their progression. I thought we ran the ball this past week in those team run periods much better than we had. We are, I've talked about this. The volume of run game, and we found ways to. It's not only the volume, but how to simplify the run game to where it's like, guys, we want you to come off the rock. Like we don't want you worried about, hey, this, that, and play slow. Because if you make a kid play slower than he is, that's not ideal, right? And so these guys have been coming off the ball a lot more fierce and physical this past week. Because I think we've kind of really tried to narrow in not only the volume, like I said, but the teaching. The way these guys are coming off the rock.
The mentality of this game and how important it is because it's the first conference game. In the minds of your players, if they could end up 1-0 in conference by winning this game, and the rest of the stuff is like water under the bridge, right?
Yeah, I think every game, when you talk about conference play, regardless, it is extremely, extremely critical. I think that it's important for us to play well at home. It's important for us to play well in our conference home opener, right? There's no doubt that it's one of those deals where our guys have an edge about the way we're preparing and an edge about the way that we're approaching this game. We've got to play physical. We've got to play fast, and we got to get after it because it's the first it's the first conference game at home, and that matters. And there's no question about that. But I have one of those mindsets, like we're not going to dwell in the past. We're going to learn from it and move on. We're not sitting there like the past is the past. The past is last, man. Like we're worried about right now and what our team can do and how we can be better and be the best version of ourselves against Sam Houston State.
I believe I'm being corrected. It was the second.
Liberty.
Yeah. This is our second one, our conference home opener, though. Yes, correct.
Coach, the players have gone in each game, right, with the intent that they're going to win the game.
Yeah.
So far, you guys are still in search of that first win.
Yeah.
How do you kind of keep that hunger alive within the guys and even within yourself, right, just to block out the outside noise and just keep on going and keep believing?
Yeah, number one, no one's opinion, outside this building matters. The people in this building is the opinion that matters. So it's critical that, as a coaching staff, it's critical as leaders that we stay positive and we see, like when I say stay positive, doesn't mean like, sunshine and fairy tales and just everything's okay. Like, it's not what we do. Like, we get in there, I believe great organizations confront hard truths, and so like you go in there and we're very direct about what we see on tape, where the mistakes were made. But then also, like I've told you guys, every game, there's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 plays where it's like, wow, that's winning football. And we have to find a way to get that out of our guys, more consistently, right? And so, but you got to stay positive. You got to keep fighting. You can't worry about what people outside this building say, or you can't worry about what's happened in the past. We got to focus on ourselves and keep getting better every day. That's the only choice. I've talked to him about controlling what you can control, and at the end of the day, it's about we can control our effort, our attitude, and we control our vision for what we have as a program. And that's what we got to do, is control the vision that we have for this program, and that means controlling our effort and our attitude. If we do that every day consistently, then eventually we're going to end up on the right side of that win column. because the process is going to be right. But your process has to be right for that result to be right. And again, we're building a program, we're building something, we're staying positive, we're going to keep working and fighting through every single day to get better. But I believe that we have a team that can win. I believe that we have a team that is fighting every single day to get better to win. And I know their efforts are right. We got to keep cleaning up those details and keep getting better every single day as a coaching staff and from a player standpoint to achieve that first win.
Back to Sam Houston, they're a team who loves to control the ball on offense.
Yeah.
They're also a team that is very disciplined. They're both top 10 fewest penalties and time of possession. How important is it to get them off the field right away defensively?
Critical.
Not let them go on these long drives.
Yeah, critical. No, it's a great point. I mean, as I said earlier, extremely well coached, and they're going to do what they do. They're going to run the football. And the thing that's probably, they put up 40 points, and so people are probably talking about their offense. Their defense is one of the best, if not the best, in this league. I mean, just being honest, like watching them on tape, they hunt the football as good as anybody I've seen. They're extremely athletic. Their two linebackers, 14 and 6, fly to the ball. Number 3 is safety. I think Weaver's his name. He is, and number 7 at corner. Those guys really stick out to me, and their defensive ends play extremely hard. But to answer, so their defense, I think it's critical to get off to a fast start offensively, for us to help our defense out, right? But no, you're exactly right. We got to get out. When you play teams like this, you definitely have to get out on a fast start because, they are going to do what they do and churn out 3 yards, 4 yards, take their time, and try to keep our offense off the field, especially knowing that we're a tempo offense. That's how, I kind of talked about that before. That's how teams try to play us, and try to control the ball. But we have got to make sure, and when you play a team like this too, you got to make sure you minimize your mistakes. We cannot give them extra possessions, and we can't afford to lose possessions, on offense.
Just first time back in the Sun Bowl since that Southern Utah game.
Yeah.
Obviously, that game didn't play out the way you guys wanted.
Sure.
Could you just talk to me about the opportunity to be back in the Sun Bowl and
Man.
get another chance at a win?
Man, I've told you this like many times. We go on the road. And again, this is the first program I've been a part of, where we love our home stadium this much. Like our kids, whether it's Colorado State or Liberty or whatever, kids are walking around in pregame like, this ain't the Sun Bowl. I think that's so cool, and that's how we feel as coaches. And we are so excited to be back home and to play in front of our home crowd. Like I said, in front of one of the best venues in all of college football. And our guys are hungry, to come out and to defend, our home turf, regardless of the opponent coming in. And so again, as I've talked about, hey, the past is last. We're moving forward. We're just excited to be back home and be in front of the great people of El Paso. I got a chance to get out and go recruit for the first time, in the city. That was awesome on the opportunity. We get to go out and shake hands and, kiss babies and get to be around the coaches and the players. That was so much fun. And just to hear the support and to hear the positivity from people, in the community was so uplifting, and I just can't wait, for people to come back in the stadium. I know it's a Thursday night game, but we need you to come out to the Sun Bowl. Shameless plug. We need you to come back out. We're gonna keep fighting hard to build this thing into a winner for you. And I know that people, I know people are, impatient just like I am. But at the end of the day, we are building a program, and we're gonna build this thing the right way every single day. And this Thursday, I'm really excited to get back in our stadium, come out of that mine shaft, and have a great game.
What's the word of the week?
You always ask me the word of the week, Brett. We're talking about an edge this week, Brett. Edge. Playing with an edge. And so 3 things I've talked to him about, playing with the edge is playing loose, playing free, and playing fierce. Those 3 things are what I want him to play with. And so playing loose, meaning that I feel like at times we've played with a lot of pressure on ourselves when there doesn't need to be. Like we need to relax, and I just think that that's something when we talk about loose. And then playing free means that, I am not playing in fear of making a mistake, that I know my job so well that, hey, I can relax, I can play free and play open, go run full speed, go play full speed. Kind of like I was talking about the run game earlier, letting those guys, come off the ball and play fast, right? And then last, play fierce. Play with the edge, play competitive, right? We've got a chip on our shoulder from the way we played last time out, in the Sun Bowl, and it should be that way. We should have a chip on our shoulder from the last time we played in Fort Collins, and so I've seen that edge in our players in this opportunity week and last opportunity week and these first 2 practices, and so we got to carry that over to game day. But it's all about playing with an edge.
Yeah, kind of jumping off that, Coach, the opportunity week that you guys had, how important can that be to, I guess, not reset, but really increase the mentality? What can you guys work on in that
Yeah.
opportunity week to get ready for
Yeah, I mean, you hit on the head. I mean, the reset is a great term. I mean, that's exactly what we did. Is I flashed up a slide that said Conference USA in big bold letters and said new season. And I know we played one conference game with Liberty, but now we're about to go on this conference run, right? And it is a new season. I mean, we're going into a brand new month. We're going to these midweek games, and that's the way that we have to think about it. Okay, the first 4 games, they didn't go our way. But if we sit there and just keep dwelling on that, now we got to learn from that. We're not going to push the past aside. But if we learn from those mistakes, like I talked about specifically, third downs, red zone, running the football, stopping the run on defense, right? If we learn from those things, right, and we had drills that address that opportunity, then we're going to keep growing and getting better. And that's what this thing's all about. It's about teams either during the season, they get better or they get worse. And I'm a firm believer in that. And so during the season, if you don't have focus points, you don't have things that you're trying to intentionally get better at, you kind of just drift off like, hey, we're just talking about scheme, talking about game plan, and that's it. And that's great. You got to talk about those things, but we got to be intentional about the UTEP minors and what we got to get better. And I think that's what we addressed in the opportunity. It gives us a great week to reset, get their bodies fresh. They came out last night, practiced extremely fast. That was really fun to see. So I really like where our mentality's at coming off the opportunity week.
Coach, I mean, sorry, Sam.
Very good. Go.
Okay. I mean, this isn't your first rodeo, right?
Right.
You've been you've built foundations before, other programs before.
Yeah.
My question is, so that fast, fearless, physical blue blaze, right? We want to see more of that. It's very exciting when we get to see those glimpses, right?
Yeah.
It's starting to click.
Yeah.
The guys are, like you mentioned earlier, like the guys are still learning. But being that you have, this isn't your first rodeo.
Sure.
Have you seen, I don't know if pattern's the right word, or when things finally started to click for the guys?
Yeah.
At what point of the season did it start to click for them?
Yeah, you kind of referring to the first time, kind of building through that. Yeah, it took us. I mean, I'll say this. I refer to this actually a lot with the team because I think the team needs to hear from past experiences. We went through my first year at Austin Peay, we went through a 3-game losing streak in year 1, and honestly, like probably 3 teams we shouldn't have lost to. We went through, and that was a trying time. And I remember distinctly the things that came to my mind, the things that I learned from that I've translated to our team is as long as our practices and our preparation remain intense, competitive, and detailed. That group of guys, we went on that year and we ended up winning 6 games, and we honestly should have, won the conference championship. We lost by a field goal, by 1 point, and I think we had a field goal block to not win the conference championship that year. And I remember distinctly, like after that season, reflecting on what happened, and those practices during that 3-game losing streak were extremely intense, extremely competitive, and extremely detailed. And nobody wavered. Now kids want to win, coaches want to win. There were hard times, no doubt, hard conversations, no doubt. But those guys, if you'd have come to our practices, you wouldn't have thought that these guys are on a 3-game losing streak. And that's the signs you're asking for, signs that I see in this team. That's the signs that I see in this team. Like I go up after we had a team lift right after practice. Like I go up to that lift, and guys are lifting hard. Now our guys like walking around and they're you can tell they're antsy for a win. They're ticked off. I mean, I'm ticked off. Like we want to win. That's what we came here to do, right? But the signs that I see are positive. Is that our guys they show up on time. They're taking great notes. They're doing everything they can to prepare, and then they go on that practice field and they bust their tail every day. It may not be perfect. We may screw up something. I may have to start them over on something, and check them at times. But for the most part, those guys are coming to work every single day and practicing really, really hard. I thought, like I told you, like the week last week on the opportunity week, we had some physical practice. Those were a couple guys after practice, those were like camp practices, coach. Not lengthwise, but the physicality, and I think that, when you have a team that'll come to work every day like that, that gives you a chance to win. Effort and discipline don't guarantee you're going to win, but it opens the door for you to win, and that has to come standard on the vehicle. If we have that and that comes standard on the vehicle, we got a chance to win every game that we play, and that's what I see from this team. We have to continue to become more detailed and continue to when those critical moments arise in games, right? We can't fear failure. We got to think about what could go right instead of what could go wrong, and that's my job as a leader to keep voicing that into their head.
Anything else?
Awesome, guys. Thank y'all. Appreciate it, guys. Thank you. Thanks. Word of the week, man, right? Every time.